Now you'll have the opportunity to make your individual test settings. When you see this page, make sure the test that you're currently working with is highlighted. Then scroll down and hit Submit. You'll see the test's name in the name field. You'll see the course link description. That's the name of the test that they're going to be taking. Then you want to scroll down here. I would suggest show the test description to students before they begin the test. I would also suggest show instructions to students before they begin the test. It's probably a good idea to have the test open up in a new window, so I would select that as well. Then the test availability, you have to select make the test available to students. Now in terms of multiple attempts, most faculty do not want to allow multiple attempts, so I would leave that unchecked unless you absolutely want them to take the test more than once. But be warned, when they take the test more than once, that become a grading issue that needs technical support and troubleshooting that you might not get in a timely manner. So I generally recommend leaving that alone. Force completion, absolutely do not check this. This is a troubleshooting and technical support nightmare to deal with. Timing, I am absolutely advising people not to have time tests. Once again, these create technical support and troubleshooting issues, and I'll go over in a little while how to work around this so that you have what basically amounts to a time test without the technical difficulties that the actual Blackboard time tests create. One of the things I do recommend is having the test only display to the students after a certain date and time. So let's say that you have class from 9:30 to 11:30, and you want the students to take this test during their normally scheduled class time. Well, I would select, so let's say that they have class today, which is the day I'm creating this, or you can set a future date. You would set it up to open up on that day, and if this class began at 9:30, the 8th, at 9:30. I am strongly recommending to never select the display until field, because that will lock all your students out, and the ones that have technical difficulties, and they will, you'll have to open it up again anyway, so it's best just not to deal with it to avoid the technical and troubleshooting problems that it causes. Do not put a password on there. Again, technical difficulties and troubleshooting are an issue. Skip over availability exceptions. Now we'll get to the due date. You don't want to give the students an unlimited amount of time to take and submit the test. So what you want to do is select a date when it is due. In this case, I want it due at 10 o'clock that day. So I want to only give them 30 minutes to take the test. So I'm going to set this up to end at 10 a.m. So what will happen is every student that submits the test after this due date, when you go back to grade it, it will be tagged as being late. And then you'll know who didn't submit the test in the time frame that you wanted them to. This works much better than the time test, which basically locks them out of the test completely if they have any technical difficulties while taking the test. And quite frankly, you can't resolve these technical difficulties during the time frame at hand. They almost invariably result in a phone call or panicked email to the instructor saying, "What do I do?" This way, the test stays open for them to resolve their technical troubleshooting issues and puts in that it was submitted late. You'll see this. You can then contact the student and ask, hey, why was your test late? And then you can decide where to go from there rather than dealing with a panicked student who couldn't submit the test because the test was in the Blackboard timed format. Also, if it's not a timed test, you can give them a couple of days as the due date. Open it up, a couple days later it's due, that's fine too. Do not check the do not allow students to start the test if the due date is passed. Once again, this will lock them out if they've had technical difficulties. You're just going to have to go in and open it again, so you might as well not deal with it in the first place. Self-assessment options, leave these be. Make sure that's included in the test center. Show results and feedback to students. I highly recommend selecting on a specific date and make this a date after you're going to be grading them and dealing with any potential issues. So in this case, if the test was due on the 8th, I'd say make the questions available, make the answers available to them on the 10th, a couple days later. That way they can't share the information with each other before you've had a chance to go in and grade them all. Or if they're automatically submitted, they won't be able to share what they know is the correct answers. Test presentation, I would stick with all at once. And when you're, one more option is that you can randomize the questions. And that will make sharing answers a little more difficult because if everyone has the same number 1, that could be a problem. Well, if it randomizes the order of the questions for every student taking the test, then they'll all get different number 1s, different number 2s, different number 3s. So I recommend doing that. And then hit submit. And here you see the test ready for the student to take. If you notice, the test has sort of a faded appearance to it. That's because the test is not yet ready for your students to take. If you turn off edit mode, this will allow you to see what students see. So if I turn off edit mode right now, that test will disappear because it hasn't been made available to the students yet. You turn edit mode back on, the test is there. To edit an individual test, you would select the caret next to the test's name, click Edit the Test Options, and then you can go in and change any of these settings. In this case, I'm just going to go in and change the display after date. And I'm going to have it open up at 8:30 instead of 9:30. And I'm going to make the due date 9 a.m. instead of 10 a.m. And I'm going to hit submit. Now what you'll notice is that the test icon itself is not faded out, and that means the test is available to your students to take. If I turn edit mode off, I can now see this test because it is now available to your students to take.